What up guys? So today I have a recipe for a spinach and ricotta cannelloni. Really quite an easy pasta dish to throw together. It's got a nice tomato sauce with some spinach and ricotta shoved in some cannelloni tubes and smothered in a little bit of white sauce. Alrighty, we're going to grab a large fry pan to start with, and into this pan we're going to stick in 1 tablespoon of butter. We're going to let it melt, followed by 2 cloves of garlic that we've just diced up nice and finely, and 1 teaspoon of nutmeg powder. Now into this little mixture in our pan we're going to stick in our spinach, and we've just removed the stalks off our spinach. And we're just going to let this wilt for about 2 minutes, shouldn't be any longer than that, just until it starts to wilt. We're going to transfer this into a bowl and allow it to cool. Alright, now we can work on the tomato sauce part of the cannelloni. Now in the same pan, don't worry about washing it, it's got all the flavour in it. I'm going to stick in a splash of oil, followed by 1 onion that we've diced up nice and finely. And once it's nice and cooked and translucent, roughly about 5 minutes, we're going to add in 3 tins of 200 grams tinned tomatoes. And we're just going to let this simmer away. We're going to salt and pepper, and we're just going to let this simmer until the sauce starts to thicken. Towards the end, roughly around 15 minutes later, we're going to add in a handful of basil, which is roughly chopped up. This will give a really nice flavour. Once again, check for salt and pepper, and we're just going to set this aside until we need it for later. While we're waiting for our tomato sauce to thicken, to reduce, we can work on our spinach. Now we're going to remove it from its bowl it's been cooling in, squeeze out any excess juices over the sink, chuck it onto a chopping board and give it a really nice chop until we get sort of a nice fine mixture. We're going to stick our spinach back into its bowl, and into the bowl we're going to add in 400 grams of ricotta cheese. Now if you don't have ricotta on hand, you can use cottage cheese. I've done it with cottage cheese before. Into the same bowl we're going to stick in 1 egg. This will help bind everything together, followed by some salt and pepper, and also 1 handful of parsley that we've just chopped up nice and finely. Give everything a nice mix around with a spoon. Taste it a little bit. You might need to add a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, and we're just going to set this aside until our tomato sauce is ready. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to stick a nice white sauce a cheesy nice white sauce across the top of our cannelloni. So we get started with that. In a large saucepan, we're going to stick in again 1 tablespoon of butter. Let it melt, and we're going to follow this by 2 tablespoons of corn flour. Make it into a paste, followed by a little bit of milk, and we're just going to whisk this around to dissipate that corn flour paste, so you don't get any lumps in our sauce. Once this is done, we can add in roughly around 1.5 cups of milk. This will be the base of our white sauce. Give everything a nice whisk around. Again, make sure there's no lumps, and we're just going to put this on a medium heat until it thickens. Once it's thickened, we're going to stick in a handful of cheese. This will just give it a nice cheesy element to the top and allow everything to brown nicely when we actually cook it. Now once our cheese actually is melted into the sauce, we can have the option of sticking in some parsley. You don't need to. This will just give it a little bit more flavour to our sauce. Once this is done, put this aside, and we're going to start filling our cannelloni tubes. Now I have roughly around 20 cannelloni tubes that I've picked up from the supermarket. Now all we're going to do is grab our ricotta and spinach mixture, put it into a piping bag, and then just pipe them into the cannelloni tubes with 1 finger over one end and the piping bag in the other until it's nice and full. Pretty simple, not rocket science. You're just going to continue to do this until you've filled up all your cannelloni tubes. Once they're full, we're going to grab a large baking roasting dish. We're going to fill this with our tomato sauce across the bottom. We're going to place in our full cannelloni tubes, roughly around 2 rows. And then we're going to pour our white sauce across the top of it. Grab a spoon, just evenly coat the top of it with our white sauce, and we're going to bang this into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for roughly around 30 minutes. This will just make sure our cannelloni tubes actually cooked and the pasta itself isn't too tough. It's nice and al dente. Whack it out of the oven, allow it to cool slightly, and serve it up with a salad. There you have it. Really easy to make. It's quite quick, and the flavours are actually quite amazing. So I hope you guys enjoy. I apologize for the audio. New laptop, so I'm trying to get everything sorted. But I'll see you guys next week with a new recipe. Cheers. Cheers.